Hello, my name is Ruslan. Today I'll tell you a crazy story you won't forget.
When my wife told me we were finally pregnant, I smiled, hugged her, and pretended my knees weren't turning to water. Because 3 years earlier, I made sure that was impossible. I never told her. Post to self. And that is how the first lie became the lock on our door. And every lie after it turned the key. I'm Alex, 32. I fix broken things for living appliances. Doors, locks, squeaky windows, but I've never been good at fixing the things I break inside people. Lena and I married 5 years ago. We were good together the way mismatched cups still make a set, nothing identical. But somehow everything poured felt warmer in them. She taught art at a community center. I kept a repair van running and a calendar full. We had a running joke that my van smelled like coffee and dusted sheetrock. And our house smelled like paint, water, and lemon. Somehow, it worked. 2 years into the marriage, my father died. He'd been a runner running from bills, from promises from us. The last time I saw him, he put a hand on my shoulder and said, "Don't pass your damage forward." I took that too literally. I booked a quiet appointment and had a vasectomy at 29. I told myself I was protecting a child I might not be fit to father. I told myself I'd tell Lena when it mattered. And for 2 years it never mattered. Because nothing happened. We pretended to try without really trying. We joked about timing and pillows. And something small and cowardly inside me felt safe. Until a Monday, after rain, Lena came home with eyes bright and frightened. She took my hands, sat me on the kitchen stool, and said, "We're pregnant." I booked a quiet appointment and had a vasectomy at 29. I told myself I was protecting a child I might not be fit to father. I told myself I'd tell Lena when it mattered. And for 2 years it never mattered. Because nothing happened. We pretended to try without really trying. We joked about timing and pillows. And something small and cowardly inside me felt safe. Until a Monday, after rain, Lena came home with eyes bright and frightened. She took my hands, sat me on the kitchen stool, and said, "We're pregnant." That night, while she slept, I lay awake and watched the ceiling fan push shadows in lazy circles. There are moments you can choose the truth, and moments when the truth chooses you. I let it pass like a slow train in the dark and told myself, find out first, then confess, then decide. That was lie number 2.
I started with the mailbox. It's amazing how much of a life lives on paper. Receipts, appointment reminders, insurance statements, a crisp white envelope wedged under the door. Matt, Locker 37, Union Station, written in block letters. No return address, no name, just a key taped inside. I didn't tell Lena. Lie number 3. Instead, I told my oldest friend, Iris, who left a patrol car for a private investigator's license and a habit of saying the quiet part out loud. At a diner, over eggs and coffee, I slid her the envelope like we were in a bad movie. She raised an eyebrow. "You know you could just talk to your wife, right?" I said, "I will. I need to know what I'm walking into." She looked at me for a long time. "You sure you're not trying to build a courtroom before you build a conversation?" I said nothing. She sighed. "All right, I'll look." 2 days later, we met again. Iris had printouts, Lena's calendar screenshots, social check-ins, the dull glitter of data. 3 new appointments were circled. Riverside Clinic, initials Dr. M, a midday block labeled Simply Studio, and a set of charges near Union Station. "Could be prenatal," Iris said, tapping Riverside. "Could be anything." "The studio?" "Her art classes," I said. My voice climbed in defense. Iris pointed to the station charges. "Locker fees and coffee every Thursday. If she's cheating, Thursday's the day." We went to Union Station together. I felt stupid and dramatic, a teenager in a trench coat. Locker 37 swallowed the key with a soft click. Inside was a manila envelope, thick with paper and a flash drive. On top, an ultrasound photo like some bright moon. Beneath it, a letter. "I'm sorry I can't be the father you want me to be." I read it again. "The father you want me to be, a man, a donor, a ghost." Iris watched my face change colors. "Alex," she said carefully, "this might not be what you think." "What else could it be?" My voice sounded like someone stepping on thin ice. On the flash drive, in Iris's office, we watched a single MP for play, Lena at Riverside Clinic, laughing with a woman in a lab coat. The audio was low but clear enough to catch. "Consent forms processed. We'll move forward," and Lena's voice, landing like a stone in the quiet. Thank you, Dr. Morales. Dr. M was a woman. My stomach dropped, then rose, then dropped again. The second clip was sharper. Lena and the doctor in an office. The doctor saying, "It's not uncommon for partners to struggle with the conversation, but forging his signature isn't safe or ethical." I froze. Iris paused the screen. "Looks bad," she said. Looks also like she tried to back out. I read the date, 11 weeks ago, before the pregnancy announcement. On the next page of the envelope, consent forms. My name signed in a curve I recognized and didn't like someone trying on my handwriting. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to have a clean, sharp place to stand and point and say, "This is betrayal." But the truth is I brought a hidden blade to this duel first. I could hear it sheathed in my pocket, humming my own secret. I followed Lena one Thursday, as quietly as guilt can follow. She got off the tram near Union Station, the winter air still edged with old rain. She wasn't careful like someone having an affair, no glancing over the shoulder, no nervous hands. She walked like a person carrying a decision, not a secret. At locker 37 she retrieved the envelope, tucked it under her coat, and headed to the riverside. I trailed, hating myself like a shadow hates the sun. She stopped at a bench. A tall figure approached, jeans, a navy jacket, a knit cap, and my chest went tight. He sat, took off his cap, and Iris, who had agreed to be nearby, whispered in my earbud, "That's not a he. That's Dr. Morales." They talked for 20 minutes. I heard only scraps over the wind. "Tell him soon. Not like this. He deserves." At the end, Lena hugged the doctor. It wasn't romance. It was a person hugging a lifeline. I thought I'd feel relief. Instead I felt something worse. Cornered by my better self. If she wasn't cheating with a lover, what was all this? A forged consent. A clinic. A doctor urging the truth. That night I cooked pasta and oversalted it. Lena laughed and drank water and told me. The baby was the size of a fig. She took my hand and placed it flat against her belly as if the future could be read in warmth. I remembered my father's hand on my shoulder and wondered if damage is a family heirloom. I decided I would tell her everything. The vasectomy, the fear, the cowardice. But first, like an addict taking one last hit, I wanted one more clean answer. If not a lover, then what? I didn't plan it. I wish I could say I chose the words, but they chose me at to am. When Lena went for water and I followed to the kitchen and the house felt honest in the way houses do at night. "I know about the clinic," I said. The glass stopped halfway to her mouth. "What?" "Riverside, Dr. Morales, the forms, the locker." I swallowed. "I know we're pregnant. I also know I made sure I couldn't make you pregnant 3 years ago. Silence has temperatures." This one was cold, then hot. Lena set the glass down carefully, like it might explode. She didn't shout. She didn't cry. She looked at me as if I'd walked in through the wrong door wearing the right face. "Set," she said. "We sut. I found out about the vasectomy," she said, "a year after you did it. Insurance sends letters, Alex. You forgot we share a mailbox." My mouth opened, closed. I waited. She continued. "I told myself you'd tell me when you were ready. I told myself you were scared. I told myself 100 stories where you were still brave in the end." My eyes stung. She wasn't done. "I asked you to test with me when nothing happened. You wouldn't. You laughed it off." I started to feel like a crazy person in my own house. That's a kind of betrayal, too. To make someone doubt their reality. I tried to speak. She held up a hand, so I booked an appointment. I told Dr. Morales the truth. That I thought my husband had done something and couldn't say it out loud. She said we needed consent. I said I'd get it. "I forged your signature." She exhaled. "It was wrong. I knew it. I almost didn't go through with anything. I canceled twice. Then, I asked a child and a judge. Then, she said softly, I took a test here. At home. It was positive." She smiled, crooked, which made no sense. I panicked. I ran to the clinic and told Dr. Morales. "She told me to talk to you. I told her you'd only talk if I had answers." She wrote me notes. Not a donor. Not a scheme. Just biology being biology. "Vasectomies fail sometimes, Alex. Very rarely. But they do." I felt foolish in a brand new way. In the quiet, our refrigerator hummed like a chorus of small machines keeping other lies cold. "But the locker," I said weakly. "The note. I'm sorry I can't be the father you want me to be him." Her eyebrows rose. She stood, opened a drawer, and pulled out a card in a salmon-colored envelope. M embossed on the flap. "Marta," she said. "My sister. She wanted me to ask you to be a reference for her foster application. She panicked when I said now was a bad time. She wrote that dumb dramatic line. She always does that. I didn't want to tell you until I had the right words for all of it. And I never found them." Iris's voice was in my head again. Build a conversation before you build a courtroom. We sat while the minutes turned into a different kind of day. Finally, I said the only thing that still felt true. I was wrong. First, I thought I was protecting you by not telling you. I was really protecting a version of me that never disappoints you. Lena's eyes softened and then sharpened. I betrayed you, too. I signed your name. I let fear decide how honest I could be. She placed my hand against her belly again. We built this baby on a pile of bad choices, but the baby didn't make them. I nodded. We have 30 days, I said suddenly. It surprised both of us. 30 days where we tell each other one truth every night, even if it hurts. Especially if it hurts. No defenses. No courtroom. Just a porch light left on. She stared at me, then cracked a smile through tears. And at the end, I said, we decide if trust can be rebuilt with 30 truths. If not, we walk away with fewer lies inside us. Day 1. I told her I kept my father's last voicemail and hadn't listened to it, because I was afraid he'd sound proud. Day 2. She told me she almost left me once, on a Tuesday, for no single reason. Just the weight of all the small ones. Day 3. I told her the smell of lemon cleaner makes me think of my mother crying quietly after work. Day 4. She told me she resented how I fixed things for the world and never let anything be broken near me at home. Day 8. I admitted I googled vasectomy failure rates at 3 a.m. Day 11. She admitted she stared at donor profiles for 2 hours once, then closed the laptop and felt like she cheated on a ghost. Day 17. I told her I loved her more when she disagreed with me, because it meant she trusted me enough to fight for the truth. Day 21. She confessed she kept the ultrasound in her wallet and took it out on the bus, smiling at the kindness of strangers' faces who didn't know her. Day 26. We said the baby's possible names out loud for the first time, and none felt like labels, only invitations. Day 29. I told her I was still angry, not at her, at the version of me that thought silence was mercy. Day 30. She told me she forgave me, not in the soft way, in the hard way that says, I will keep forgiving you, and you will keep giving me reasons not to need to. On the 31st day, we didn't decide to stay. We decided to keep deciding to renew truth, like a library book before it. Overdue notices us both to death. A year later, our daughter arrived, with a frown that looked exactly like mine and lungs that sounded like a brass band. The paternity test we never took sits in a drawer we never open. Maybe it will gather dust forever. Maybe one day we'll need it. Trust isn't pretending the test doesn't exist. Trust is knowing love doesn't. If you ask me what betrayal is, I'll say this. It's not just crossing a line with someone else. It's crossing a line inside yourself and pretending you didn't feel it. I felt mine the day I chose the first lie. The hardest part of forgiveness was walking back to that line and saying, I remember where you are. So here's my question for you. If the first betrayal is a lie of omission, and the second is a forged signature, is there a third that should never be forgiven? Or can love survive if two people pick up the truth together, one small piece at a time? Tell me in the comments, what's the line you could forgive, and what's the one you couldn't?
Crazy, right? Subscribe so you don't miss the next one.